I hear that you've maybe saved some relationships or
Yeah.
marriages with your recommendations.
Over the years, I've gotten tons of DMs from couples that are like, we used to fight over where we would go eat. They're like, you should make an app that has like a spinner that randomizes
That'd be
it. And I was
amazing.
like, gosh, yeah, that is a good idea.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Guiding You Forward podcast. I'm Chase with Mountain America, and we are here at Silverside Deli in Sugar House. And I'm with Chase of SLCFoodie. You've probably been seeing his content all over the place. I know I have. I've been getting served all the time. And today we're going to be talking about what he does, how he got started, some of his best restaurant recommendations, and just everything food related. Kind of going back to budget and recommendations and stuff. Let's get into what are some of your favorites? Do you have a favorite genre of food even that you like, or are you just kind of like all over the map with that?
I am all over the map. I mean, I love incredibly cheap food. I enjoy people are gonna laugh. I enjoy Jack in the Box's
Nice.
49-cent tacos.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of meat it is.
In this economy, you have to.
But I tell you what, I'll go through those quite often. And then, I enjoy like a really nice steak. We've had steaks that are, $250 like tomahawks.
Oh, wow.
Just really enjoyable. But I think my palate's very wide, and some people, they'll say, how can you like a Jack in the Box taco when you really enjoy these tacos over here, right? You love Sol Agave's great tacos, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, because I like all of them.
Right.
And my thing is, if it tastes great, I'm going to talk about it. If I don't like it, it doesn't matter what the price point is.
Right. Okay. If you were to recommend, obviously going to your social pages and just seeing what you're recommending, you have mentioned is like, even when people ask you that, you're like, let me pull this up and see. But are there, off the top of your head, some that maybe bang for the buck, right? It's not the cheapest. Maybe it's not the most expensive. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
But that you're like, this experience or this is worth it.
Yeah.
Are there anything like off the top of your head that you feel like are like the best bang for your buck?
Gosh, there's so many that I'm thinking of. The first one that comes to mind is probably because I just had lunch there yesterday. Is Santo Taco.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Great taco spot.
I've heard great things.
Good price point, very authentic, and they're generous. Like I got their birria tacos yesterday, and I took a friend with me. I'd never been there before. Filled to the brim. And I went in there, on my lunch break. No one knew like I have the blog or anything. So that was the real deal, which
right.
I really appreciate because I've been in there many times. I've created content in the past for them and they look identical.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. Very cool. Any other ones?
Gosh, price point. So Hall Pass is great.
Yeah.
I love Hall Pass. That one right there, when someone comes to me and they're like,
a lot
hey,
to sample from in there, right?
100%. I mean, it's like a food court, basically.
Right, yeah.
But very beautiful inside, has the atmosphere, good vibes, great patio, and you get a little bit from everything. You can get a burger, you can get a chicken sandwich, you can get a lobster roll, right? You get a gyro, right? It's and price point's great there. I always go there before like a jazz game or Mammoth now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's great. We shot our My Style commercial with you there.
Yes.
And the whole team ate there afterwards. And I know I was thrilled with everything there. So I can definitely even personally endorse that one myself because
that makes me happy
it was excellent.
Yeah, no, it's a great spot.
Very cool. What's one of the strangest things that you've ever eaten? Like while you're like maybe hesitant to try it, but did.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. So first thing comes to mind is Bambara. They had this elk tartare that they did for New Year's a few years back, and it had like shaved truffles on it.
Okay.
And tartare is basically raw elk,
meat,
right? That one was pretty wild. I've done like frog legs at like.
And you enjoyed the elk tartare.
Oh,
it was
okay.
good.
I'm a huge tartare fan now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's evolved.
It's
a thing for now.
Really
Anytime I see it, I'm like, yeah, I'll have that.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people see it, they're like, you'll get sick. I've never got sick.
Yeah. You're like, so far so good.
Yeah, and I've done it quite a bit.
Nice. Very cool. Okay, so maybe a recommendation, right? You see this on social a lot, and I've laughed at this too, of hacks for getting your significant other to choose where you're going to eat, right? This is like a battle that everybody kind of experiences.
Yeah.
And one of the jokes and funniest things I've seen on social is a guy being like, "Oh, you're never going to believe where I'm taking you." And she's like, "Where?" And you're like, "You'll have to guess." And then she guesses, and he's like, "Yep, that's it. That's where we're
That's
going."
so clever. Yeah.
Yeah, so great way to resolve that.
Yeah.
But I hear that you've maybe saved some relationships or
Yeah.
marriages with your recommendations.
Over the years, I've gotten tons of DMs from couples that are like, we used to fight over where we would go eat. They're like, you should make an app that has like a spinner that randomizes.
That'd be amazing.
And I was like, gosh, yeah, that is a good idea.
That is a good idea for
But
an app.
it's so fun to hear that. I love getting DMs from the community and just hearing their stories, or, this is our 40th anniversary.
Mhm.
My husband's a picky eater. Where would you go?
Right.
I answer all of them too. I'll be up like 2 a.m., wake up in the middle of the night. Well, let's go through some DMs.
I can't believe you have a full-time job and you're answering DMs till 2:00 in the morning.
Luckily, I like to eat. So it's like, I got to eat anyways.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, oh, okay. It doesn't take up too much time.
All right. Well, speaking of that, you have to eat. You're frequent all these places. Restaurants are soliciting you. How many places would you say that you ate at in
Oh, gosh.
2024?
Over 300.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
We
So
did.
like almost one for every day. of the
Oh,
year.
yeah.
Pretty
Easy.
close.
In fact, I would say at least one for every day, because there's a lot of spots that we just didn't like that we didn't talk about.
Right.
But I think last year we did 374 posts, but some of
Wow.
those might have been repeat, but
Right.
probably 300 unique restaurants. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
How do you even find the time to do that?
So it's, you eat dinner every night,
Yeah,
right? You eat
right.
lunch every day. So same thing. So I have a backpack.
You're just strategic
that
about
I got my lights in it, little tiny lights just in case I have something I like and I'm going to take some photos. I've really made it very efficient. When I first started doing it, it was clunky.
yeah,
And over time, it's got
streamlined
it's
the
like second
process.
nature. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, so you were with us on our MyStyle commercial. You've been a member for a while, is
Yes.
that right?
Yes.
How long have you been a member with us?
So I remember this funny. It's 2006. I finally saved up enough to get a Audi TT
Oh, nice.
turbocharged, car.
Yeah.
I really wanted one of those, and I got the loan through you guys.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. So been a member for a
Long
while.
time.
Are there any specific benefits that you
The rewards for
Yeah.
me. In fact,
like you were mentioning before?
yeah, and as I've matured in life and now I have income that I can save, right? It was funny. I was driving and I saw the my picture, on your bill. And I was like, I need that. So I called.
Great. So we even influenced you. Or
You did influence me.
as the marketing department, we're glad to hear that.
Yeah, good job.
So you've been a member since 2006 with us. What keeps you here at Mountain America? Like, what do you love the most? We talked about you love the rewards, right? You mentioned our certificates, the
Yeah.
rates on those, right? And that's something as a credit union we like to do. But
I feel like you guys give back, like you share, right? Like,
Yeah.
you look at other banks and the rates aren't there, right? And if I can save more, I can eat more.
right, yeah, yeah. That's an amazing way to put that.
Yeah.
So do you have any kind of crystallizing childhood memories that kind of like you can pinpoint getting into this? Because like for myself, like I'm really into cars and I can almost like pinpoint the moment. I remember laying under a truck with my dad and him pointing at a differential and telling me how something that turns this motion into this motion works.
Yeah.
And that was like a crystallizing that I was like, okay, I think I really like this. Were there any like crystallizing moments like that for you with food?
Yeah. So me and my dad were laying under a thing of shit. No.
This is amazing.
That was so
Our
deep.
names are Chase, and this started the same way.
Oh, that was so deep. I would say for me, like growing up, my mom worked for a company and they owned Sun Valley, Idaho, right?
Oh, wow,
and
yeah.
they would give us a week up there. And it was buffets and like I got to explore different foods and it was really nice foods, right? So that's kind of where I broke out of the, chicken wings, chicken nuggets, hot dogs, right? Corn
Right,
dogs,
yeah.
right? And as I got my first job when I was 15, and the first thing I bought, I really loved shrimp cocktail. But
Okay.
I grew up pretty poor, and I went to the supermarket, bought me a frozen bag, 3-pound bag of shrimp, and cocktail sauce, thawed it, and ate the whole bag that night.
Nice. And I guess that brings up another point. Like, do you cook often? Or do you just kind of like leave it to the professionals?
Yeah. So I try to leave it to the professionals. I used to cook a decent amount, but I wouldn't say that I was creative. Like when I meet these chefs, I'm just like in wow. How
Yeah.
did you create this? Right?
Yeah.
How did you come up with these flavors? You know, like Silverside, the chef here is like, you combined what and made this? That
Right.
is wild.
Like the fusion of all of
Yeah.
that.
100%.
I just know that I personally will cook things that I'm like, I can do that. And it just never tastes the same way.
Yeah.
Right? Like I tried to make tikka masala.
Okay. Oh wow. That's yeah.
It wasn't even close. and not to promote something else, but like Red Fort, I love their tikka
Oh.
masala is so good.
Yeah.
And I even got my wife is the least adventurous eater I've ever met in my entire life. But I got her to be adventurous and try their tikka masala. And now she's like all about it.
See, that's what it's all about. That honestly, that was one of my biggest goals for SLCfoodie in the past few years, is getting people to get out of their comfort zone, right? Like exploring the menu, break out of that. All I have is potatoes and meat,
Right.
like explore it. That to me is one of the funnest comments I get back is, I didn't think I'd like this and I went there and I'm
Right.
addicted now.
Is there like an ethnic cuisine that you would recommend exploring, right? Because there can be some strange ones, right? Like most people have had Thai food or Korean or whatever, but also like we tried this place that I think was Estonian food.
Oh wow. Okay.
That was like really, really good. Is
Yeah.
there any like
You know,
anything like that that you would recommend people exploring that they don't just normally,
So-
or they might hear and be like, nah, I think that'd be weird. I don't.
yeah, no, I'm with you. So Indian food, right?
Right. Yeah.
But explore it beyond like butter chicken,
Right.
tiki masala, the buffet.
It's super
right?
authentic.
Like go find a very authentic spot
Okay.
and pick random things on the menu. I've done that at a few Indian spots and it's like, what was this again?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
a mango korma? Like why did I not eat this before? It's so much
Right,
better
yeah.
than butter chicken.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we fall into the grooves, right? But yeah, that's what I would do personally.
Are you a habitual eater like that? Like, I know that I fall into this category. When I find things that I like, I'm like, I could probably eat that every single day. But you're so adventurous
Yes.
with changing it up and stuff. Are there things that are still like a habit for you?
So if there's a burger on the menu, I'm always gonna try that.
Okay, yeah.
I was in North Carolina last week in Charlotte, and they're like, "Where do you want to go? You want to go to the French Quarter? There's this." Like,
Right.
they're like, "We know you're a big foodie, so we gotta." I'm like, "You got a great burger spot here?"
Yeah. Like,
They looked
come
at me
on.
like, "What are you talking?" I'm like a gourmet burger spot. We found this spot called Cowbell. Really great burgers.
Okay. Wow. This is probably a question that I know I personally would like to hear, but I'm sure our audience would as well. Because this is always a battle amongst everybody, but like best barbecue in Utah.
Oh man,
Maybe
you
not
had
best,
that
or
one.
just what are your top ones? Because
Yeah.
there was one I think that's in St. George
Yeah,
that everybody's saying like that's the best one
I think I know what you're talking about.
in Utah.
Pica Rica.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's a
the
great
one.
spot.
And would you agree with that? Like, what are your top barbecue
Okay,
spots?
so if I had to
Because,
give you three,
uh,
and in no order,
okay, no particular order.
So
yeah.
Pica Rica is one of them in St. George.
Okay.
I'll drive down there just to go get to Pica Rica.
Okay.
Great spot. I hope they bring it up here.
Yeah.
Because that would be amazing.
That'd be more
Good
convenient.
vibes,
Yeah.
great food, good prices. Less barbecue. It's in
Okay.
Draper,
All right.
kind of by Cowabunga Bay, right?
That's right by our
And-
headquarters. I'm gonna have to check this out.
you
yeah.
gotta check it out. So this spot is more grab and go. They only have like a few tables,
Okay.
but Texas style barbecue. And he's known for his oxtail to the point where I didn't think you could ship frozen barbecue. Like that wasn't a thing.
Right.
He is known across the nation for his barbecue. He'll go on tours like he's Taylor Swift. The
Okay.
mayor of Atlanta came out to see him.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you're doing barbecue in Utah and the mayor of Atlanta is coming out to try your stuff, that seems like it speaks volumes.
It's incredible. And then over the coals.
Okay.
So this is up in Holiday area and Mill Creek-ish, and it's in a food court.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like a food hall, and kind of hidden in a neighborhood. And the guy that owns it, he actually did the construction for the food hall, and they couldn't fill a space. And they're like, "You love smoking meats, like you should do something." So he opened it, does extremely well. He combines he does like these breakfast burritos with brisket. It's just incredible,
gosh, that
great
sounds
portions, and it's a passion project. He's like, "This is way harder than construction."
Right. Yeah. Right. Couldn't be much worse than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Any recommendations? So like tacos is like another one of
Yeah.
those like hotly contested categories,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
We've already mentioned a few Mexican places. Are
Yes.
there any that you're like, if you think taco, you're like, oh, my go-to would be this?
So right now there's a new spot. I'm gonna mispronounce it. It's Sal E Limon.
Okay.
I don't know if that's how you say it.
Google it.
But it's up in Fort Union.
Okay.
They just barely opened, and their tacos are like out of this world. I'm talking like, you'll order, you're like, gosh, it's just one taco. It's a massive like amount of meat on there. They have this one that has like New York. It's a New York strip that they like. That smells like mesquite coals inside. That they roast or like grill over like these mesquite coals. I've never seen it done in a restaurant, but they really wanted to bring like Mexican style tacos to Utah, and they're incredible. They have an octopus one that is delicious.
Octopus taco.
Brisket taco. Oh my gosh. It's one of my favorite spots. And it just barely opened a couple weeks ago.
Oh man, I will have to check that out.
Definitely.
You're making me hungry. Have you ever been to El Gordo Tacos?
El Gordo.
Yeah, they're like Las Vegas area.
Oh,
they have
okay.
a few locations there.
Yeah.
We went there while we were at a race recently.
Yeah.
And it's like this authentic, I think it's Tijuanan style tacos.
Okay.
It's one of the best tacos I've ever had in my
Really?
entire life.
Okay.
Like, super
I put it
authentic.
on the list.
We ended up going back like 3 times the whole time we're there.
Oh, wow.
2 of my friends were like,
Okay.
can we please stop doing this? Because their heartburn was just like killing them. But I was like, no, we're going back. So
That sounds awesome.
yeah, it's really good.
I'll have to check that out
Highly
next time
check.
I'm down there.
Highly recommend checking that one out. So you're going to 300-ish of these places a year at this point. Do you have anything like crazy or unique or anything that while you're at these places that has happened to you?
Yeah, so I had it was kind of wild. The first thing that comes to mind is, so I was at my table eating dinner, I took a few photos, right? And I get up to leave the restaurant, and I'm walking out, and someone grabs my arm from the booth. And I turn, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And it's this gentleman, and he goes, my daughter is a huge fan, and she's sitting next to him, and she was like maybe 10.
Oh,
Like, if that. I was like, what? And she goes, can you say, hey, foodie fan for me? It was so cute.
She wanted
oh
to record it for her message tone.
I was like, whatever you want. You're adorable. Like, I was so flattered. Like,
that's
I
amazing.
forget. I guess SLCFoodie, I run it like I did when there's 5 followers, So I forget that, like, people actually see my content.
Right. Does that happen to you a lot? Because, you've mentioned you don't really want to be the face of this channel. You want the food to be the face of all of your social and everything like that. Do you get recognized a lot when you're out and about?
So the more
I guess we're kind of hurting that.
I was gonna say.
That you are going to get more recognized.
I do try to stay behind the scenes, but with TV and things like this, a little bit more. People, funny enough, recognize my voice. They'll hear me because I'm kind of loud. They'll hear me and be like, hey, are you the Hey Foodie Fam guy?
That's amazing. They're just hearing you in a restaurant and they're like, I know that voice.
Like, this guy pops up on my feed too much.
No such thing as too much with delicious food. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
If you had to say that you had one superpower when it comes to what you're doing, or multiple, I guess, what would you say they are?
Oh my gosh, a superpower. So I feel like I have an iron stomach.
Yeah.
Right? Eating out that much, especially like spicy foods and, God forbid, getting sick here and there, right?
Right, yeah.
I think I feel like my gut health is very good. I think my doctor would be very happy about it. But I feel like I'm really good at like positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
Like if someone's doing really well, I love to like tell them, gosh, you're doing incredible. Because a lot of restaurant owners, it's a hard gig.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Right. And I think they get down.
Yeah.
And, coming in and just being able to be like, this was incredible. Like, how did you dream this up? You're doing so well when they have 1,000 other things around them.
Right.
I think means a lot.
Well, I assume a lot of small business owners really appreciate the attention, right? Because like you mentioned earlier, they don't have these huge marketing budgets. They don't have, I assume, a lot of time to I'm just comparing it to what we do. Even monitor Google reviews and respond to them if people are having negative experiences. If you're not coming in directly and like telling me about it, like
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's a
It's
lot.
so fun to see them grow. I like Mr. Charlie's Chicken. When I first went there, yeah, they had one spot, and now they have the two spots, and just seeing them like live their dreams, it's really inspiring. I feel like I like lived through them.
Right.
I know how hard it is, so I was like, I'll never do that, but thank you.
That was actually going to be a question of
Yeah.
mine. Is there any future where you would want to open your own restaurant?
I always joke that when I retire, I'd love to be a barista. Maybe I'll open a coffee shop.
Love to make coffees.
I do love to make coffees. I've got a manual machine at home, and
Oh, wow.
I pull my own espresso shots, and there's just something about it. It's like morning ritual. I'm a morning person. I'm up early, 5 a.m. doing my cardio, trying to burn off my calories for the day.
I was gonna say, you're just making your face in the shape of one of them.
I'm not that good yet.
I guess that's a great question to ask you too. Like, if you're eating this much all the time, how do you balance that from a health perspective?
Yeah. My doctor, he'll tell you, he laughs. He's like, you're borderline like diabetic. He's like, your sugars are high. He's like, you look fit, but your sugars are high. You need to slow down. So I'm mindful with, portioning. I do a little bit of like intermittent fasting, I'll save my meals for later in the day. But just exercise, getting out. I live in Daybreak, so I walk around the lake.
Are you the go-to guy for like all your friends and family when it comes to recommendations? Like, I can imagine, if like we were friends, I would constantly be like, hey, I don't know where to go. Where am I headed to now?
You know what's funny? Oddly enough, no.
Really?
Yeah, it's almost like they avoid talking about it.
They're like, oh, don't get him started.
Yeah. Or maybe they just go on the feed because they know if they ask me, it's like, wait a second, let me look.
Yeah, they're like, I can find it myself.
For me, I'm like a goldfish when it comes to like spots.
Right.
And going back to like the cornerstone was utility, right? I wanted to remember spots I liked with a photograph. So it's kind of funny. A lot of times I'll go through my feed and they'll be like, well, didn't you go? I'm like, oh yeah, I went.
Yeah.
But I just don't remember.
Yeah.
And when you're going to 300 restaurants,
hard.
It's incredibly hard.
Out of sight, out of mind, right?
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast. After talking about all these, I'm ready to head out and try a bunch of places all right now. I'm getting super hungry. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the Guiding You Forward podcast.
Thank you.